Hey folks, I thought I'd do a quick video on pricing. As you know, I sell instruments on actually five different platforms: Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Reverb, eBay, and a little bit on Amazon, not much. So I sell online and ship, and I also sell local, and I get people with weird pricing expectations. Some are flat out lowballers, some of them are just not logical in their expectations. And bear in mind that all my guitars come with a full luthier setup. So I get a mandolin or a guitar like this. I do 1 to 2 hours on it, clean the fret ends, set up the action, go through the internals, oil the fretboard, whatever it needs to make it play better. And then I try to beat the price, the online price for it still, even though I've done that sort of work. So it's very difficult. But what irks me is I think the market, definitely for local sales, is sort of skewed by people, other sellers that are selling their instruments at unreasonable prices, which turns the whole buying base into a bunch of chances and lowballers. I often have blamed in the past the buyers for this phenomenon, but I think other sellers, not me, but other sellers are partly responsible. I'll give you a little bit of an example. So I've just opened up Facebook Marketplace. I'm looking at my local sales, and I've put in guitar. All right, so I'm looking at a bunch of listings for guitar. Mine are in here, and so are other people's. So what do I see? I see a lot of just ads for guitar. No detail, no model number, nothing. Photo, the word guitar, acoustic guitar, something like that. There's one here, it just says guitar, no mention of a model or name, $140. I mean, come on. I mean, all you have to do is look in the sound hole. Look in the sound hole and you see Mitchell, AVS 100 or whatever the model number is. Put that on your ad. Why is that so hard? I don't get it. So there's a lot of those, but then there's a lot where people have just sort of guesstimated a price without looking it up. Here we have a Yamaha C40 3/4 size. Somebody is selling for $130. Folks, you can get them new for around 100, maybe even cheaper. Let's see what else we get. An Epiphone DR100, $180. Used, looks pretty beat up too. You can buy these, I think, new for around $179. You can get them used all day for around 100, 120, 140 at tops. A quick browse will show you that. We have a Lucero Classical for $145. These are new for around $99, $89, sometimes $109. So why somebody is, and it looks like a smaller, it looks like a half size, so it's probably even cheaper. Why is somebody selling a used one for $145? I'll never understand. Let's see what else we've got here. Some parts casters, those are hard to price because somebody put work into those. Schecter Diamond Series Champion plus Champion amp, $290. That seems like an okay deal. Here's a 1966 Stella going for $150. Now people collect these. I see a lot of junky Stellas that are not even worth restoring because they're so bad. But if you're willing to work on them, there are people that look for those guitars. Here we have a Fender CD60 going for $220. That's over the new price as well. All you got to do is Google it. Now, of course, people price high because it leaves them room to come down. I get that. But some of these are astronomically over the price for a new equivalent guitar. Which forces the buying base, to try to drive that down because they're so unreasonable in their pricing. Let's see what else we've got. We've got some of mine in here. An Ibanez EW20 ASC for 300. That's the one with the Florentine cutaway. That's one of the exotic wooden models. It might be worth it. I'm not sure. It sounds a bit close to the new price to me. That would be one I would look up. Another Schecter Diamond Series electric going for 325. Might be a bit close to the new price as well. Maybe not. Then we have a Godin, looks like a LGX model going for 850. I think that's over the new price as well. Here's a BC Rich Bronze Series Warlock going for 250. I don't think they're worth that much. Maybe there's a fetish market out there where the old Bronze Series people are willing to pay that, so maybe it's worth putting an ad up. But I remember selling a few of those more like the 150 price range, so that sounds a bit high to me, but I might be out of touch with what's going on with that particular brand. What else do we have here? We have a Jackson Dinky Soloist for 350. That sounds high. Wow, a James Olsen guitar for 31,000. Anybody know about James Olsen? Probably handcrafted, maybe a local luthier to where I live. Epiphone GT model, matte black. Looks like a Les Paul Studio copy going for 160. Might be a bit high for that. So you can see what I'm saying here. There's just people that just sort of slap any old price up here, and a lot of times it's over the new price. Here's another CD40 Fender going for 250. That is almost double the price of a new one. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I've seen a lot. Silvertone Strats going for 200. I can get those. I don't buy them because there's no resale value on them, but I can get those for $99 all day long. So somebody bought one of those, set it up, and they've marked it up to $200. Reverend guitar prototype for $800. The Reverend guitars, you can't buy a Reverend guitar under $7, so that sounds like it might be a good deal on that one. Here's a Mitchell going for $600. It is one of their cutaway, looks like figured ash tops, but that sounds awfully high for a Mitchell for me. Fender Malibu $300. That might be worth it. So these are the kinds of things that you see people selling used on local sales. Here's a really odd one. Here's somebody selling a James Nelligan Yakasugi series guitar. They clearly bought it from me. They have the photo of a James Nelligan Yakasugi guitar, which is a 400 new. Probably got it for around 200 from me. They've stolen my ad for a Hona 335 BLK Dreadnought. So they've got the picture and the description that they've taken from me, and they don't match. And they say it's sitting in their closet. So maybe they bought a guitar from me for a kid and the kid didn't play it, but they've got the wrong photo and the wrong description of the guitar, which they just copied from one of my ads, which is a bit annoying. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got a Taylor 114 for $650. That's high. I think you can get a 214. Well, maybe not. Yeah, I think it's slightly high for the 100 series. Seagull S6 for 200, but it looks beat to hell. Might be all right. Let's see. RX20 Ibanez for 185. No. No, that's way too high. I can get those for around 100, maybe even cheaper sometimes. And I'm talking when I say I can get them. I don't mean from my wholesale connections. I mean I can get them used online or on eBay. So you can see here's another Epiphone DR series that's priced at 200. There's just no way for DR 100 it's worth $200. You might get 120, 140 for it if you set it up, but it's just not worth $200. I think they're 179 new or something like that. Wow, a lot of ESP guitars on here. I guess people buy those and because they're shredder machines, so kids get them and then end up not playing them or something. It seems to be a lot of them. Here's a Recording King Dirty 30 series parlor for 185, which is too high. I see those all over the net for around 140, and a lot of times they need work. There's a couple of sellers on eBay that are selling those Recording King Dirty 30 series, sort of 30s looking guitars, very, very cheap because they're all dinged up. I think there were a lot of seconds and blems and damaged on that particular line, because there are a couple of resellers selling those very, very cheap, which has brought the value down on those. Classic Vibe for 250. I don't know about that. I mean, I think I can get a new one for that price. This one looks like it's got stickers on and everything. So, you know, here's another Dean Exotica going for 400 now. You can get those for 250 all day long. So here's just a few examples. Electromatic Projet, Gretsch, the black one that I had. Somebody's selling for 450. I think you can get them new for that, around 479, maybe 429, something like that. So used ones are only really worth, in good condition, maybe $350 if you're lucky. It's not terrible, but it's still inflated. Ibanez AW200 going for 280, too high. It is an Artwood, but it is their lowest version of the Artwood, which I think you can get around 160 to 220, somewhere in there. I've had lots of those. So the point of this video is people overestimate the value of their crap. They do, and it's not just guitars. I mean, whenever you go on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and you look at people's used stuff, it's always way too high. So of course that creates a culture of trying to drive down the price to a proper, more representative level, which is why you got a lot of people lowballing or trying to either get below the value and get a bargain, or at least get it down to the value. And I just think that in the age of information, not enough people spend 30 seconds Googling a model number and finding out what it's worth. I mean, for instance, here is a Mitchell mandolin. I can, in 30 seconds, find out what these go for on eBay in good condition. What do they go for in Reverb in good condition? What do they go for new? What's Amazon selling them for? That's 3 URL searches I can do in about 30 seconds. Then I don't price this thing at 200 and guess, right? Because they're not worth that much. But a lot of people are doing that. They're just sort of guesstimating or deliberately over-exaggerating. In some cases, they are asking for twice, sometimes even 3 times the price of something new, which drives me crazy. And I find myself buying less and less. I sell a lot on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, but I find myself buying less because you got to drive to somebody's house and they have some inflated idea of what something's worth, and you can take a laptop or a phone with you and actually show you, hey, you can buy this thing here new for $139. You're asking $180 or $200 for it. And a lot of times, they will still try and hold their ground because they have some idea in their head that it's worth more than it's actually worth. Or maybe they got ripped off on it and it's now worth less. Or maybe they bought it when it was worth $200, but now the market has corrected the value of this particular instrument. All these permutations sort of muddy the waters, I think, on local selling sites and create sort of this bartering mentality. So when I complain about lowballers and people trying to get a good deal on something, it's not all their fault. Now, some people are just unreasonable. They just lowball you at insulting levels. They're just trying to see if you're desperate enough to sell something for half of what it's worth. Those people I despise, but there are actually people out there that are trying to correct inflated values, so it bleeds over into the culture of the marketplace. Anyway, what do you think of all this? I think it's interesting. Of course, you get people over inflating the value of their guitars on eBay, but they just sit there month after month after month and don't sell. And either they correct the price, they add a make an offer function, and somebody makes a reasonable offer, or they get smart and go, okay, it's not worth as much as I thought it was, and they correct the price, or it just sits there forever. That market has a way of correcting you. If you overinflate the value, the system itself will normally bring you down to about the right price. Otherwise, you'll just sit on that inventory forever. But with local sales, I find it's slightly different. People, I think, are slightly less informed. Maybe they're not musicians. They're selling off some kid's guitar that they've never played, and they look at it and go, "Oh, I'll ask $200 for it." I don't know. In the age of information, you think somebody would take 20, 30 seconds to Google something, wouldn't you? Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are on this, and we'll talk next time about something else related to these wonderful stringed marvels that we all can't live without.